The first time your portfolio crosses $200,000, nothing magical happens on the outside. Your bank does not send balloons. Your friends do not suddenly ask for financial advice. Your car still makes that weird noise when you turn left, and groceries still cost more than they should. But underneath the surface, something important changes. You are no longer just trying to prove that you can save money. You are now managing a real financial engine. And this is exactly where many people make their first major wealth mistake. They think $200,000 means, now I can finally buy nicer things. A nicer car, a nicer apartment, better clothes, better vacations, upgraded everything. And listen, I'm Toby, not a monk with a spreadsheet. Money should improve your life. But once your portfolio hits $200,000, the smartest things to start buying are not status symbols. They are systems, protection, flexibility, time, skills, margin. The boring things that make the next $200,000 easier than the first. Because $200,000 is not the finish line. It is the point where your money becomes powerful enough to help you, but still fragile enough that bad decisions can slow you down for years. Under $20,000, most people are trying to survive. Under $50,000, they are building confidence. Around $100,000, they start to feel compounding. But at $200,000, the numbers become emotionally real. A 10% market drop is no longer a small red percentage. It is $20,000. That might be a car. That might be a year of rent. That might be more than your younger self ever had saved in total. So the question changes. It is no longer only, how do I build this? It becomes, how do I protect this, organize this, and use this to make my life stronger? The first thing you should buy is breathing room. Not a luxury watch. Not a car that makes strangers think you are doing well. Breathing room. A real cash buffer outside your investment portfolio. People love saying, cash is trash, but cash is not supposed to be your growth engine. Cash is the airbag. Nobody buys a car because the airbag has amazing horsepower. You have it because when life hits you sideways, you do not want your face meeting the dashboard. At $200,000, the danger is not only that an emergency happens. The danger is that an emergency happens during a market downturn, and you are forced to sell investments at the worst possible time. Your job disappears, your roof leaks, your car dies, your client pays late, and suddenly the market is down 18%. Without cash, your portfolio becomes your emergency fund. And when your portfolio becomes your emergency fund, every downturn becomes personal. So buy distance. Distance between your daily life and your long-term investments. Distance between one bad month and one bad decade. For some people, that means 6 months of expenses. For others, especially if income is unstable, they have kids, or they own a home, it may mean more. This money will feel boring. Good. Boring is what keeps your future from being interrupted by panic. The second thing to buy is protection from risks that can actually destroy progress. Not dramatic risks people argue about online. Real adult risks. A medical issue, a disability, a lawsuit, a death in the family, or one accident that suddenly turns your financial plan into a crisis. Insurance is not exciting. Nobody wakes up thrilled to review disability coverage or umbrella liability insurance. But once you have $200,000, you have something meaningful to protect. That means checking your health insurance, disability insurance if your income depends on your ability to work, term life insurance if someone depends on you, and umbrella coverage if you have assets that could be exposed. Most people get this backward. They will spend 3 weeks researching a phone upgrade and 0 hours asking whether one lawsuit could put their savings at risk. Protection does not feel like progress because it does not show off. But staying wealthy is mostly about staying in the game. And staying in the game requires protection. The third thing you should buy is tax flexibility. Not a shady tax trick from a guy filming beside a rented Lamborghini. Real flexibility. Once your portfolio gets larger, where your money lives starts to matter almost as much as what you invest in. $1 in a traditional retirement account is not the same as $1 in a Roth account. $1 in a taxable brokerage is not the same as cash in savings. At small balances, this can feel like financial decoration. At $200,000, it becomes architecture. You do not want every dollar trapped behind the same rules. One day, you may want to retire early, take a sabbatical, buy a business, help a parent, move states, reduce work, or bridge a gap before retirement accounts are easy to access. If all your money is locked in one type of account, you may look wealthy on paper while still having limited choices. So buy optionality. Use retirement accounts when they make sense. Use taxable brokerage for flexibility. Understand pre-tax versus Roth. Think in buckets, not just balances. The person with $200,000 spread intelligently across different account types may have more usable freedom than someone with $350,000 trapped in one place with no plan. The fourth thing to buy is a simple investment policy. That sounds painfully boring, which is why it works. An investment policy is just a written agreement with your future emotional self. It says, this is what I invest in. This is my target allocation. This is when I rebalance. This is what I do when the market drops. This is what I refuse to do when I am scared, greedy, tired, or watching some stranger online predict the end of capitalism. At $20,000, you can wing it and survive. At $200,000, winging it gets expensive. Panic selling 25% of a $10,000 portfolio is painful. Panic selling 25% of a $200,000 portfolio can cost you a down payment. The bigger your portfolio gets, the more valuable boring rules become. Your rules do not need to be complicated. In fact, they should be simple enough to follow on a bad day. How much goes to stocks? How much stays safer for near-term goals? How often do you rebalance? What will you do if the market drops 30%? What will you do if the market rises 30% and you start believing you are a genius? That last one matters, because greed can damage a portfolio just as quietly as fear. The fifth thing to buy is quality advice, but only when the advice solves a specific problem. This does not mean handing 1% of your portfolio to someone forever, just because your balance crossed a nice round number. It means recognizing when a professional can prevent a mistake bigger than their fee. A good CPA can help with tax planning. A fee-only financial planner can help with account location, retirement modeling, insurance gaps, stock compensation, or withdrawal strategy. An estate attorney can help make sure your family is not left guessing if something happens. The key is specificity. Do not buy vague financial confidence. Buy answers. Am I using the right accounts? Do I need Roth or pre-tax contributions? Is my company stock too concentrated? Do I have enough liability coverage? Are my estate documents a mess? Advice is expensive when it creates dependency. Advice is cheap when it prevents a six-figure mistake. The sixth thing you should buy is concentration control. Many people reach $200,000 because one thing worked. Maybe they held a few tech stocks. Maybe they received company equity. Maybe one sector carried them. Maybe crypto ran up. Maybe their home value exploded, and they started feeling like a genius. There is nothing wrong with being rewarded for risk. But once your money becomes meaningful, the question becomes, do I still need this much risk? Or am I just emotionally attached to the thing that got me here? Concentration feels like loyalty. You feel loyal to the stock that made you money. Loyal to the company that gave you equity. Loyal to the investment that made you feel smart. But wealth does not care about loyalty. Wealth cares about survival. So start buying diversification. Not because it sounds impressive. It usually sounds boring. But boring is the price of not having your future depend on one earnings report, one CEO, one industry cycle, one government rule, or one bubble. The seventh thing to buy is higher earning power. People separate investing from career growth, but at $200,000, your largest asset may still be your ability to earn. A better skill, a certification, a strong network, a conference, a license, a coach, a portfolio of work, or a business system can produce returns. Your brokerage account cannot match yet. And I know invest in yourself is often used by people selling overpriced courses with countdown timers. That is not what I mean. I mean calculated purchases that increase your income, pricing power, or options. If spending $2,000 helps you earn $15,000 more per year, that may be one of the best investments you ever make. If learning negotiation raises your salary by 8%, that return can compound for decades. If building a side income gives you more control, your portfolio becomes less fragile because your life no longer depends entirely on one employer. At this stage, do not only ask, what can my money earn? Ask, what can I earn because I used some money wisely? The eighth thing to buy is time. This sounds soft until you notice how expensive exhaustion is. When you are overloaded, you spend more, eat worse, avoid planning, ignore problems, and make emotional money decisions. So after $200,000, it may make sense to buy back a few hours. Maybe that means paying for help with something you hate. Maybe it means moving closer to work if the numbers make sense. Maybe it means outsourcing low-value tasks during a busy season. Maybe it means taking a day to organize your financial life, compare insurance, clean up accounts, and create a plan. Poor people are often forced to trade time for money. Wealthy people learn to trade money for better time. But there is a difference between buying convenience because you are avoiding your life and buying support because you are designing your life. Buy time that creates health, clarity, relationships, or earning power. Do not buy convenience just to feel important. The ninth thing to buy is a real spending philosophy. At $200,000, lifestyle inflation becomes dangerous because it becomes easy to justify. You tell yourself, I worked hard. I deserve this. And maybe you do. But I deserve it is not a financial plan. It is a sentence that can be attached to almost anything. I deserve the car. I deserve the trip. I deserve the apartment. I deserve the upgraded everything. And suddenly, every raise bonus and market gain disappears into a nicer version of your old life. So decide what luxury actually matters to you. Not what looks impressive online. Not what makes people think you are rich. What actually improves your life. Maybe you love travel but do not care about cars. Maybe you care about living alone but not fancy restaurants. Maybe health, family, books, tools, or experiences matter more than designer logos. Great. Spend intentionally there. Cut ruthlessly where it does not matter. The goal is not to become cheap. Cheapness is fear wearing a budget costume. The goal is precision. Spend heavily where it matters. Refuse random upgrades that quietly eat your freedom. The 10th thing to buy is margin around your biggest goals. If you want to buy a home, do not only save the down payment. Save the repair fund, the moving fund, the furniture fund, and the something will definitely break in the first year fund. If you want to start a business, do not only save startup money. Save personal runway. If you want kids, do not only think about cute furniture and baby clothes. Think about childcare, health costs, time off, housing, and flexibility. If you want to retire early, do not stare only at the portfolio number. Think about healthcare, taxes, withdrawal timing, inflation, and what happens if markets disappoint early. At $200,000, you can finally stop making plans that only work if everything goes perfectly. Broke plans need perfection. Wealthy plans have padding. And padding is not wasted money. Padding is what keeps your plan alive when real life shows up without asking permission. The 11th thing to buy is an identity that can actually handle wealth. This may sound dramatic, but it matters. Some people are great at building the first $200,000 because they are powered by anxiety. They save because they are scared. They invest because they feel behind. They work hard because they are trying to outrun embarrassment. That fuel can work for a while, but it is a terrible long-term operating system. Eventually, you must shift from panic accumulation to calm stewardship. You are no longer just the person trying to escape being broke. You are becoming someone responsible for managing resources. That requires patience, restraint, and the ability to say no. No to bad debt. No to bad advice. No to lifestyle pressure. No to investments you do not understand. No to people who suddenly have plans for your money. Because once you have real assets, everyone has a pitch. Lenders have a pitch. Car dealers have a pitch. Financial salespeople have a pitch. Influencers have a pitch. Even your own ego has a pitch. Your job is to have a better plan. So when your portfolio hits $200,000, do not rush to buy the symbol. Buy the system. Buy cash reserves so emergencies do not force bad sales. Buy insurance so one accident does not erase years of discipline. Buy tax flexibility so your future self has choices. Buy simple rules so emotions do not manage your portfolio. Buy specific advice when the mistake would cost more than the help. Buy diversification so one position does not become your whole personality. Buy skills that raise your income. Buy back time that improves your decisions. Buy a spending philosophy so lifestyle inflation does not quietly eat your freedom. Buy margin so your goals can survive reality. And buy the identity of someone who does not need to look rich to become free. Because 200,000 lirs is not where you start acting wealthy. It is where you start acting responsible for a machine that can one day buy your freedom. The people who lose momentum here usually do not lose it all at once. They lose it through upgrades, ego, taxes, fees, panic, concentration, and pretending that reaching a milestone means the hard part is over. But the people who win at this stage understand the truth. The first $200,000 proves you can build. The next $200,000 proves you can manage. And if you manage it well, your portfolio stops being just a number on a screen. It becomes quiet leverage. It gives you options when other people only have obligations. It lets you negotiate differently, sleep differently, spend differently, and eventually live differently. So do not buy the thing that makes people think you are doing well. Buy the system that makes it true.